Okay, today we're not going over a book, we're going over how to actually start reading in 2025. It's a new year, it's a new you, and a lot of people are trying to make changes, and I just want to put forward why reading is the best thing you can do for yourself, because truly what reading is it's the greatest gift you can give to yourself. Everyone talks about, oh, well, if you invest today, in 40 years, that compounding interest will just really add up. It's the same thing with reading. It's the same thing with knowledge. It's the same thing with information. And the shreds of information that you can pick up today are things that you can pull from for the rest of your life. You read one book on Carl Jung, every time you have a weird dream, you can understand what that means in the context of your life. You can understand why you're dealing with certain issues because there's an unconscious force that's driving you to react in these certain ways. And it's like little pieces of information like that can really go so far to changing the person you are. And it's just a simple, 10 minutes a day, an hour a day, 2 hours a day. No matter how much time you're spending gathering information, it's beneficial. And this is what I'm going to try to explain, and I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible. And the first thing I want to say is it starts off small. Don't force yourself to do something tremendous. Don't force yourself to change your habits. If you can only read 5-10 pages a day, only read 5-10 pages a day. Just start off with something small. Start off with something manageable. Start off with something that doesn't take much out of your schedule, isn't hard to keep up, because it's the big drastic changes that makes people quit. It's the big drastic changes that make people be like, you know what, this isn't for me. You know what, I can't do this. But if you start reading 5-10 pages a day, I promise you it will be so easy. And once you establish that as a habit, then you can build upon it. And it's really that simple. It really is that easy. Just force yourself to read just a little bit every day, and you will slowly start to love it. You will slowly start to enjoy it. But it's getting yourself to the point where you enjoy it. That is the biggest issue. The next thing I want to say, I want you to start with audiobooks. So many people in this generation have had their attention spans destroyed. It's very hard for you to sit down and focus on one thing solely. So the benefit of audiobooks is you can do other things while you're listening to a book. Maybe you don't retain as much information, but there are some extra benefits. Like, let's say you're falling asleep to an audiobook. The next day you try to read it, you'll retain more. It's very weird how it works, but your subconscious gets impressed, and it gets impressed with these ideas, and these ideas can go to shape you in ways that you don't even understand, that you don't even recognize, and you really get that benefit from it. Like, we've all heard the saying, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but you're also the sum of the content you consume, the things you have in your ears while you're at the gym, while you're in the car, while you're doing the dishes, while you're cleaning your room. All of these things, like, it all goes to affect the person that you're becoming. And you can choose to fill your head with nonsense, or you can choose to fill your head with amazing, inspiring authors, amazing, inspiring ideas that really drive you to where you want to be. And I think this is the number one cheat code. It doesn't take much time a day. Think, if you just have an audiobook going for 30 minutes a day, whether it's your drive into work, whether it's you're doing cardio at the gym, whether it's you're doing the dishes, you're cleaning your room, you're doing your normal chores, you're cooking, whatever it is, that is enough to probably consume, read, whatever you want to call it, 1,000 books in your lifetime. And 1,000 books in your lifetime, if you get to 1,000 books in your lifetime, I promise you're going to be more well educated than 99% of people. You're going to be more well informed. You're going to be able to take creative, adaptive solutions to whatever problem is in your life. And your life's just going to overall be better because you're filling your head with knowledge from some of the greatest minds who ever lived. To get a book published, especially nowadays, is very, very hard. I'm not talking about releasing an ebook. Like, I could release all of my writings right now in an ebook. That doesn't mean I'm published, but to get published in the day and age where it meant something, that's really impressive. And you have to be talented. You have to be saying something that is noteworthy to be able to do this. And these are the ideas that you can put into your brain. The last thing I want to say in this video, I think if you do those first two, you're good. But this is the last ditch resort, and this is the last thing that I will say. Find some sort of way to synthesize all of the books. Whether it's going on YouTube and looking at book summaries, whether it's watching my channel, watching the things that I break down in each different video, like, just get yourself accustomed to these ideas. Just start putting these ideas in your head, because you're eventually going to start piquing your interest, and you're going to be like, you know what, this guy is an idiot and he's explaining this idea very, interestingly. Why don't I go explore that idea for myself? Why don't I see the actual depth of this information? Why don't I see the actual first-hand source? Because the first-hand source is always the greatest account. what you get from a secondhand source, what you get from my reviews, is always going to be a lesser form of whatever I'm trying to explain, whether it's Emerson, whether it's Nietzsche, whether it's Jung, whether it's any other sort of book. Like, I will never be able to express completely what the author was trying to say. And it's all about getting yourself ingrained in these ideas, getting excited by these ideas, and then diving headfirst into it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, before I ever started reading, before I ever started getting into these things, I was watching so many YouTube videos. I even had a book summary service. I don't suggest doing this unless you're like really, really into it, unless you're really going to use it, because it's like $15, $20 a month. Like, I don't want you spending money that you don't have, or that you're not really going to use, because I'm not going to say that it's not worth it. Like, if you use it, it's worth it. But like, at one point I had a website where they summarize books, and I would just read these book summaries, and I'm like, okay, this is a book I want to read in the future. Okay, this idea is really interesting. Okay, maybe these ideas are interesting, but this book doesn't really seem like it's something that's worth it for me. And just find a way to get the same information and make it easier, because that's going to make it that much more likely that you're going to come back to it, or at the very least, you're getting that same information in a watered down form, and it's the start of these formulations in your mind. You're starting the process of your self-development. You're starting the process of your growth, of your education, of your personal education. Education is one thing. Going to a school, going to college, getting a degree is one thing, but personal education is something different. Personal education is something that people don't really go after, and it's very frustrating, because everything can be solved through the mind. Everything can be solved through your approach to things, the way you view things, the perspective you take, seeing the other person's side. Like, there's all of these tricks, there's all of these tactics that have been written down, and the only reason that you're not getting it is because your attention span's been destroyed. So what I really want you to do is just do this for yourself. Don't do this for me. Don't do this because it gets me clicks, it gets engagement, it does any of these things. Do this for yourself. It's not for me. I've done this already. I've done this, and I've seen the impact that it's had on me, and I love the person who I am today. I couldn't say that 3 years ago. I couldn't say that 4 years ago. I couldn't say that I could deal with every one of my problems with ease a few years ago, but now I can. Like, problems to me are just opportunity to grow, opportunity to learn. And that's a mindset that I wish I had when I was much younger, because I don't think I would have been as sad. I don't think I would have been as, misled. I don't think I would have been as all worked up about everything. But that's a story for another day. Hopefully this video was interesting. Hopefully these were things that you could actually apply to your life, because this is really the formulation of what you see today. Like, now it's an off day if I read 100 pages of a book. It's an off day if I don't go through 2-3 books a week. And it's like, that's a conservative measure. Sometimes I read entire books in a day. Sometimes I read 2-3 books in a day. It's like, it's become a passion. It's become something that is a driving force of my growth, and it's something that has allowed me to really transform and become the person who I want to be. And I want you to be able to say the same thing. I want you to be able to do the same thing. And it really just comes from a simple decision. It really just comes from a decision to actually put the work into yourself. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. If you want to support the channel, I have an Audible affiliate link. That's the audiobook service I use. It's one of the best ones. If you sign up for that, even if it's a free trial, I get some sort of kickback. I don't know what it is. I could tell you later. I really don't know off the top of my head. But on top of that, join my Discord if you want to know when I'm streaming. If you want to ask me questions live, it's a good place to go, simply because I'm keeping you updated on the day-to-day. I send book quotes, I send interesting ideas, and I send some of my writings. On top of that, if you want even more from me, if you want more detailed explanations of this stuff, if you want my short stories, if you want more of my personal creative endeavors, go ahead, join my school. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Peace out. I will catch you in the next one.